Well, hello there and welcome to Travels with Geordie. If this is your first visit, my name is Peter Knowles and I live on this Edwin Monk designed motor cruiser in Victoria, British Columbia, along with the loving memory of my pup, Geordie, all the while fixing it up for some pretty ambitious cruising someday. If that's the sort of thing you might find interesting, please consider sticking around and subscribing. I'd love to have you. Well, it's been raining and raining and raining, but that's okay because I'm inside today on the first day of the new 16-day ambitious plan to get this boat launched, and I'm making frames. Or at least I'm gearing up to make frames. Or at least I'm coming up with a plan to make it easier. Let's just get on with it. And good morning, let's get down to this making frames business. Now, to be fair, today will be a little bit slow because I'm going to try and develop a system to carve that curve that you saw me did last time a little more eloquently than sitting there with a grinding disc and a sander. I need to do it quickly and accurately. So we'll get on to that in a bit. So this is today's chosen bay. That's the one we did before, and we're going to go up and down in this bay today. There's absolutely no obstructions, nothing interesting, so we can just do a clean install? I don't know what you want to call it. Anyway, the other one, of course, is not finished or fastened, so there's lots left to do there, but I want to work on this system of cutting the plastic. Okay, so first we just gotta heat up the plastic and get it in there while I start to think of something to carve it with. And the little tip off the other side to make it glide so nicely. And into the heater it goes. Marvelous, marvelous, marvelous. Okay, that's 10 minutes. Let's see if this is nice and soft. Should be. If it comes out a little bit shiny, I know I'm good. Oh, I like that. Okay, what I'm going to do, actually over here, I believe I have found the perfect spot to do a little pre-flexing here. Oh, look at how nice and rubbery that is. Very nice. Well, that's 10 minutes. And that's significantly softer than it was last time. So a little more pre-flexing. Okay, and let's start to try and drive it up into here. And tap it in with the chisel. It is tight behind here, which I want for a reason, to make sure it's firm, but just right. Well, I'm definitely learning as I go. This one was tough, really tough. I think maybe I don't have quite the 1 3/8 gap in here that I thought I had, and maybe they're a bit too tight in there. I might just skiff them off a little bit. You can see I had a few goes here with the chisel, but I've also learned something else. Drive the chisel on this chamfer beveled piece at the end because it's sacrificial anyway, and it goes so much quicker. You probably also noticed I put two 1/4-inch lag bolts in here, right through to the outer chine log. Well, there's an intermediate chine log, but anyway, to strengthen it up, basically to replace these old galvanized, or not galvanized, but rusting carriage bolts, which are the main structure to hold this sandwich together. And of course, I don't trust any bolts on the boat, right? So I'm going to try and get these out at some time, but because they're carriage, I'll never get the heads off until I take the outer chine log out. Never mind all that. Extra bolts with new galvanized. Okay, with the plastic frame in place, now I have to find a way to cut this arc nice and neat. So basically, it's an arc on here that forms a 16, maybe 18-inch radius from an arbitrary point up here in space that is on a plane following that surface and meeting the inside of the planking. So it's a little bit complex, but we'll go into how we devise all that. The way I'm going to cut it is by swinging this router in an arc, basically from there down to where it meets the planking, finding that magic point, which means I have to build a jig to do all that. And I think I know how I'm going to do it. Let's go. So I'm going to start with 2 support plates. In other words, that I can affix to the side of the frames that will hold the axle, the shaft. So let's say good. A bit of a curve at the bottom and a bit of a curve at the top. Okay, let's make this even prettier. Okay, so the pivot is going to be this gnarly bit of 3/8 threaded rod, and the rotor will swing on that. That's the plan anyway. Down on the other end, let's put a whole bunch of countersunk holes to attach screws to the frame. So now some way to swing this and attach this. Well, of course, this does have a base to it, and that basically goes on there. It's long since lost its little rack and pinion adjustment, but anyway, I can hand adjust that just fine. So let's say I'm going to start about there. And in fact, I'm going to probably pull the bit out a little bit further. So now I just need something to attach this up here where I can put a swinging arm to it. Well, what I'm going to do about this nice piece of 4-inch aluminum. So basically I'm going to form a piece of aluminum that comes down 18 inches, well probably closer to 17 because I have the additional piece, maybe even a little less. Folds over, folds back up the other side, holes in it, you'll see what I mean. Now I just got to attach to these with these screws. So if I want to fold this around, basically I'm going to give myself an arbitrary, I don't know, 1 inch at the top. 17 3/4 right there. I will confirm all this just to make sure I'm not an idiot. I have to take a little bit into account for how this will fold around. But I think if I basically put it somewhere there, I'm pretty good. Okay then, well a cutoff wheel is definitely not the right tool for cutting aluminum, but it's what I had handy. Alright, let's see about folding this. Okay, so the best I can think of is basically making a homebrew brake here like this. Get the clamp going on here. Alright. I'll start just with pressure and see how that goes. 3/16 aluminum is tougher than you might think. If I knew anything about alloys, I would have ordered the right stuff. Okay. Okay, so the next fold is this way. I realize you folks aren't looking in the right direction anymore. How long ago was that? Sorry. Anyway, getting close. Okay, well, it's sort of there. Let's just see if I can close up some of this some more here. Alloys, smart alloys. In my experience, when in doubt, use fire. I think that's positively soft. Ooh, it's also positively hot. Whoa! Beauty. Okay, let's do the other one. Whew, that's hot. Aluminum is an excellent conductor of temperature. That's good enough for me. Woohoo! Actually, to give this a little more stout, I'm tapping these holes out to 1032 for some slightly stronger screws. Those tiny little 832 or whatever they were just a little small. Well, this isn't elegant, but it's going to work. Okay. It looks like something anyway. Eh? What? Who knew the hole wasn't centered on the base? Try that again. Nice. Okay, now setting it up. This is going to be the fun part. Basically, the cheek plates go on. I set the rotor as low as possible. So basically where it's just going to touch. So that's about, well, I've got it mounted and aligned and it can start to cut. But you know what? This is not one of my better engineering. This part is fine. These little, absolutely pathetic. So I gotta rethink that. It's just not, just not. This may be going a little bit off the other end of the spectrum, but I was so embarrassed with my previous jig, I wanted something that I at least felt I paid some attention to. Let's see if it works. Okay, so the thing with these jigs is that they're flat up here and start an arc with an 18-inch radius from the center line. So the point being, they're self-aligning. So because I have to start with the frame flat on this stringer, I just slide it flat down this stringer, boom, 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 until the curved part meets the inside of the hull. And I know that my center line is in exactly the right place. In other words, it's going to swing from just touching the hull to something that is in a plane aligned with the face of that. Anyway, that's in principle. Let's see if it actually works that way. One small modification to give it a little more structure, the threaded rod is going to go on the jig rather than the tool. I know what you're thinking. I'll explain in a moment. Wish I had some washers. Knew I had a few lying around. Okay, I'm actually very happy with that. But now you say, Peter, how do you get this on there? That is way too hot to touch. Ow, 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 ow. Okay, this is pretty straightforward now. Basically just hooks on there and I swing it in a bit of an arc. Oh, should we try this? Let's try it. I'll take you down there when I've done the completed set. Now I have to lower the blade and oh my gosh, that is perfect, 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 perfect. So now I just lower the bit a little bit and we make another cut. Okay, okay. That is absolutely perfect, perfect, perfect. I'm going to take you off and give you a little tour. I hope there's enough light down here for you to see this. Basically, it is absolutely perfect and it landed exactly where it was supposed to. Holy, 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 holy mackerel. Okay, a little debrief. I'm going to clean up and then we'll have a debrief. Okay then, for the day 15 wrap up and well, 15 to go. Did I make frames today? No, I didn't make frames. Had a slow start, but still, I thought I would have been able to finish that little jig earlier. I'm happy with it now. It's excellent, but I've lost 1/4 of my new frame making days, which means I have to gain 25% productivity with the new jig, which I easily think I will. So I'm still feeling pretty good, but yeah, anyway, that one's gone. 15 days to go. Tomorrow is gonna be really productive.